The third season of The Lost Canvas is a dream come true for all Saint Seiya fans. But what if I told you that the fans themselves are making this project happen on the internet? And in this story, did you know that the most mysterious and feared gold saint in the entire franchise was actually the secret mentor who allowed Pegasus to reach the seventh sense? Hello, Saints and Amazons, welcome to the channel. Always wanted to know, I'm Wes. In today's video, we're going to talk about the new episode of The Lost Canvas, made in animation form by the channel Saint Forever. Let's analyze this brand new episode and talk about everything you need to know about this great project. If you're a fan of The Lost Canvas and wanted the official third season of the anime, leave your opinion in the comments. Be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and enjoy this awesome video. Guys, today's video topic is really exciting. If you've spent years lamenting the hiatus of the Lost Canvas anime, get ready, because today's video is about the resurrection of this epic work. Thanks to the monumental effort of fans who didn't accept the end of the saga in the anime. To give everyone some context, we need to talk about what the Saint Forever channel is. As you know, the official animation of The Lost Canvas was interrupted in 2011, leaving thousands of fans orphaned. They wanted to see the conclusion of the Holy War of the 18th century in anime form. Well, the Saint Forever channel took it upon itself to continue this story, faithfully adapting the manga Kishiori Tetsuroki. And this has been happening for a few months now, where we've seen the release of the first two episodes and a significant improvement in animation quality between them. Currently, they have released the third episode of this third season, which is made by fans. The difference here is the significant quality, the improvement in the artwork, and the animation created with artificial intelligence. The images are not just static scenes or summaries. It's a complete animation based on the manga, and often brings new scenes to add even more depth to the adaptation of this story. The project features professional voice acting in Spanish and subtitles in Portuguese, clearly aiming to unite two of the biggest fan bases of the franchise in the world, Latin America and Brazil. As we know, Episode 1 was released at the end of November, and Episode 2 was released at the beginning of January, and Episode 3 was released a few days ago at the end of February. You can tell that this is a painstaking job, done with a lot of effort and a care that often surpasses big studios, aiming to maintain the aesthetics, the fluidity, and especially the emotion that The Lost Canvas gave us years ago. And it's also interesting to note that the Saint Forever channel isn't the only one trying to keep the flame of The Lost Canvas alive. If we look to the east, the Chinese fans from the Rosa Aries channel have also produced jaw-dropping material. They created animated trailers in ultra-high definition that many of you have probably already seen circulating on other social networks. However, the Chinese project focuses on demonstrating technical potential through short trailers, without the intention of delivering full 20-minute episodes with a complete narrative. That's where Saint Forever stands out, delivering the real experience of watching a new animated episode of the saga. The third episode was titled The Lost Canvas, third season, The Final Test. And it focuses on one of the most important arcs for the development of Pegasus Tenma. After the devastating losses and the feeling of helplessness in the face of Hades' power, Tenma realizes that his current level is insufficient. He needs power, but not just any power. He needs to understand the essence of the cosmos. Tenma was sad about Dooku's death, and so Daigle, before going to Blue Grade, tells the boy to go train on Canon Island. Fate then leads Tenma to Canon Island, a place that, in the series' mythology, is known for being an active volcano, and it's the home of a fearsome being known as the Demon of Canon Island. Geographically, Canon Island is described as a place with extreme weather, where the heat is unbearable for any ordinary human. It's the perfect setting for the awakening of a true one. The story initially treats the character as a demon. Manga readers know very well who this is. This is Defteros of Gemini. To understand the importance of this character, we need to remember the story of the Gemini Saints. He is different from Saga of Gemini from the 20th century, who suffered from a split personality. The Gemini constellation in the 18th century is also represented by two real brothers, Astros and Defteros, whose name means the second Defteros. He lived his whole life in the shadow of his brother Astros, being forced to wear an iron mask and treated as a freak or a disposable substitute. Astros, in turn, had the seed of evil planted in his mind by the specter Ioma of Mephistopheles. Because of this, the boy ended up becoming cruel and greedy, which led to an attack on the great master sage. Defteros ends up killing his brother, Astros of Gemini, and saves the master. So he decides to live in isolation, which led him to take refuge on Canon Island, where he began to live in the wild, training among the magma to strengthen not only his body, but his very existence. He is brute force personified, a man who has renounced civilization, but who holds deep knowledge about the seventh sense. When he agrees to train the protagonist, he doesn't do it out of kindness, but rather to test if that boy has the iron will needed to change the fate of the Holy War. In the animation from the Saint Forever channel, we see Thanos being thrown directly into the fire. The challenge imposed by Defteros is absurd. To master the magma using his cosmos in just 3 days. At first glance, it seems like a test of physical endurance, but the philosophy behind it is much deeper. The cosmos, as we've learned since the days of Seiya, is the inner universe, the energy derived from the destruction of atoms within one's own body. However, in the Lost Canvas, Shiorita and Shiroga's vision expands on this. In the story, Tenma tries to compress the energy of magma with his hands, a visual metaphor for the attempt to control a force of nature that is infinitely superior to man. This clearly goes wrong. We see Tenma's moment of frustration, but he manages to create a small sphere of magma. However, Defteros, with his harsh manner, calls him incompetent. That's because Tenma was focusing only on the attack, on external manipulation. The real lesson was the Cosmo Barrier. To survive the heat which melts rocks, the knight must expand his aura in such a way that it becomes a second skin, an absolute protection that isolates him from the hostile environment. This is a foreshadowing of what the Gold Knights do naturally. When Teruma emerges from within the magma, he is not only protected by the cosmos, he is spiritually transformed, reaching a higher level. He proved that his will to protect Sasha, who is the goddess Athena of this era, and to rescue Aron, who is the host of Hades, is hotter than any volcano. The climax of the episode happens when the nature of the island turns against the local village. The volcano erupts completely, and here, Defteros puts Teruma against the wall. If you don't stop the eruption, all the unnecessary humans on the island will die. It's at this moment of absolute despair that the phenomenon defining the elite knight occurs. Tenma needs to raise his cosmos beyond the sixth sense, which would be the human senses and intuition, to reach the seventh sense. For those who don't remember, the seventh sense is the essence of the cosmos, the ability to move at the speed of light and to perform miracles. By unifying his energy with the very nature of the island, Tenma ceases to be a foreign body in the volcano and becomes part of it, managing to stop the flow of lava. It's an epic scene, full of emotion, showing that Pegasus is finally ceasing to be an apprentice and is becoming a real threat to Hades' specters. Right after Tenma's success, we are treated to one of the most exciting appearances in the story, the astral projection of Asmita of Virgo. Asmita is a fascinating character, known as the man closest to God. He is the Virgo saint of this era and was the first to achieve the 8th sense in the anime, the Araya Shiki. To create the 108-bead rosary, this rosary is the artifact that allows the souls of the specters to be sealed, preventing them from resurrecting infinitely. By the power of Hades, without Asmita's sacrifice, the Holy War would have been lost from the very beginning. In the episode created by Saint Forever, it is revealed that Asmita's blood was used to restore the Pegasus armor. In the tradition of Saint Seiya, the blood of a gold saint has the power to give new life to a bronze armor, making it much more resilient and allowing it to evolve. The conversation between the spirit of Asmita and his old friend Defteros is a delight for fans. They discuss Tenma's potential and how the Pegasus armor now carries not only the will of the mythological Pegasus, but also the blessing of the Virgo saint. This is a small role that the spirit of Asmita has in the story, leaving the legacy for Defteros to start acting again as a gold saint. So that you can understand the magnitude of what is being animated, let's talk a little more about the technical and mythological elements that the Saint Forever channel took care to include. The Pegasus armor that we see Tenma recover at the end of the video is already an evolved version in the chronology. The bronze armors go through several forms. Thanks to Asmita's blood, it gained the ability to reach the shine that refers to the golden cosmos. Besides that, there is a mystical connection. Pegasus is the only human who managed to wound the real body of the god Hades in the mythological era. That's why the evolution of this armor is the greatest fear of the Emperor of the Underworld. A major highlight of this fan-made production is the soundtrack, which complements both the opening and ending of the episode as well as the epic scenes. Although it's a fan work, you can see a huge effort to emulate the anime's art style, which is more detailed than Shingo Araki's classic style. The shadows and lighting effects on the magma of Kano Island try to reproduce the dense and dangerous atmosphere that the manga conveys to us. The only criticism this time was the placement of the Portuguese subtitles. Unfortunately, in this third episode, the subtitles were very small and positioned in the upper corner of the screen. Probably fans who speak Portuguese and will watch the episode directly with the subtitles might feel a bit uncomfortable. But overall, it's an episode with great quality. Projects like the Saint Forever channel are vital for the Knights of the Zodiac community. Many times, major animation studios decide to cancel series based only on digital versatile disc sales numbers, as was the case with Lost Canvas at the time, ignoring the global passion of the fan base. When a group of fans comes together to create something of this level for free on YouTube, they are sending a message. The Lost Canvas saga will not die. The video ends with a feeling of wanting more. Are you ready to return to the sanctuary? But the challenges that will come next, including the confrontation against Hades himself and the judges of the underworld, will require every drop of sweat he shed on the island. Canon and everyone, the engagement with this project in the comments and sharing is the fuel that keeps them producing the next episodes. After all, creating something like this takes a lot of time and effort, and this project is more than just a simple animation. It was a lesson in how to treat a respected work. We saw the evolution of a protagonist, the introduction of an iconic mentor like Defterus, and the reverence for Asmita's legacy. The Holy War is just starting to heat up, and Tenma's journey toward complete mastery of his destiny is something no Saint Seiya fan can miss. The official links to the Saint Forever channel will be pinned in the first comment of this video. Go there, watch the full episode, leave a like, and comment that you came from here. Let's show the strength of the Knights fan base and support this project so it can keep going strong. And of course, friends, let me know in the comments what you thought about all of this. Thanks for watching until the end. See you next time. Burn your cosmos to infinity.